I don't have any confusion about the best conference in college football. Um, for the first time in a long time, I actually am very decided on the best conference, second best conference, the third best conference, the fourth best conference, and the fifth best conference. I'm usually like, well, they're the best. And then second and third's pretty close. And I really would have to grind the numbers and really think about it and seed it. But I don't think there's any question that the SEC is the best conference. I don't think there's any question that the Big Ten is the second best conference.
Oh,
I
no
don't
doubt.
think there's any question that the Big 12 is the third best conference, that the ACC is fourth, and the Pac 12 is just awful.
Yeah, they're way off the chart. And if they keep messing around,
They might not be fifth.
they might not be fifth.
The thing I'll say about when you brought up ranked teams, and I do the same thing, just it's one measurement, and just because a team's ranked it's nothing magical. You could be number 25 in the country and be no better than the team that is not ranked that is getting votes. But it's a barometer. Obviously, if you're ranked fifth in the country, you must be pretty damn good.
Right.
But I tend to look at what I just kind of categorize as quality teams. And I've probably not heard it as much as you, but have been asked about Georgia's schedule a bunch of times. I consider Clemson, regardless of their issues early in the season, they righted the ship. They played Georgia very well. I have no doubt that Clemson is one of the 15 best teams in the country. I have no doubt that Arkansas is one of the 15 or 20 best teams in the country. These teams are losing games in the SEC because they're playing other SEC teams. Arkansas blew out Texas. They took Ole Miss to a great 52-51 game the week after they got just annihilated by Georgia. Arkansas is a really good team. They played Alabama close. They beat Texas A&M. And then, so I'll say that those two teams, in my mind at least, are the two best teams that Georgia played, and then probably Kentucky after that. And then there's a collection of teams that I know that they get dismissed as being bad teams, but they're not bad teams. They're actually really talented teams that had issues. LSU, extremely talented team. Obviously, they didn't play Georgia. I'm sorry. Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, those kind of teams. Talented teams, plenty of talent. If we looked at these team talent rankings, they'd all be in the top 15 to 18 in the country. Very talented teams that just had issues. Certainly, we saw Florida take Alabama to the wire. We saw what LSU could do on it. I don't know why I keep going to LSU. Auburn. But the same thing would go with Michigan's schedule. I think Penn State's a quality team in particular, and Wisconsin is a really good team as well. I consider those to be quality teams that are roughly top 15 to 20, 25 in the nation.
Well, there's some things I want to point out against some of the teams that Georgia played. And you're right. You're absolutely right. When Georgia played Arkansas was averaging around, I think it was like 36 or 37 points a game, and Georgia completely shut them out. The very next week, they go play Ole Miss, and they score 51 points against Ole Miss. Now, that's from going 0 to 51, and they played that on the road. They scored 51 points at Missouri. So Arkansas doesn't get as much credit as they should. They were third in the SEC West, and this is a team that's made a dramatic turnaround over the past few years with Sam Pittman. They're well coached. They play hard football. If they win that Auburn game, I think that pushes them into second place. So they just a really quality football team here. And Georgia absolutely dominated them. Georgia shut 3 teams out this season, and 2 of those were SEC opponents. So this isn't a team that's just going to lay down. Y'all cannot beat Bama. Georgia fans in the same position Michigan was until we broke through this season. We are conference champs. You are not, and we play a weaker side of it and play in a weaker side of the SEC. So stop it. The only problem with that argument is that, to start with, y'all cannot beat Alabama isn't much of an argument, sir. That's a very weak argument. The reason that's a weak argument is because 99% of college football teams can't beat Alabama. That's like saying you can't, just for an argument's sake, you can't knock out Superman. You suck because you can't knock out Superman. 99% of the teams can't. 99% of people can't. So I appreciate that thought. Now, as far as the weaker side of the SEC, it may be the weaker side of the SEC, but consider that we played 4 games that were SEC, not SEC opponents. We played 4 games total. I think it was SEC. Arkansas is SEC West. Auburn's SEC West, and Alabama. That's 3 teams right there. So we about 40% of our schedule was SEC West teams. So that doesn't necessarily hold a lot of water. We shut out one of those teams, and the other team only scored 10 points. So I find that difficult to hold a lot of water, sir. Look at the awards Michigan has won this season. Georgia's won a ton of awards as well. I mean, it's who's going to play that day. And if you're looking at size, Georgia's deeper and has more talent.
S. Hobson makes an interesting point here. I don't think it's as simple as that, but he makes a good point, he or she, I should say. So here's my evaluation of Cade McNamara and Stetson Bennett. I think they're pretty similar quarterbacks, and I've seen both of them play a lot of football. I think they're similar, but Stetson Bennett tends to make the 2 or 3 big mistakes in a game, and Cade McNamara has not done that.
I think he made a couple of mistakes in, was it the Iowa game? It might have been, let me go back and check. I think it was the Iowa game that he made a couple of mistakes. I think he threw 2 interceptions in that game.
He had a bad pick against Ohio State the second drive of the game.
And was it Ohio State he threw 2 picks in that game?
He threw 1 against Ohio State.
It was one of these games he threw a couple of picks in. But that really doesn't seem to hurt Michigan all that much. I mean, if you can score 42 points and you throw an interception, that's not hurting you. I think saying that the quarterback who throws the least amount of picks is the winner, it really depends on the style of play. I think when Georgia played South Carolina, let's see. No, that's not it. Which one was it? There was a game we played in where I don't think we threw the ball at all. Like maybe 5 or 6 times. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But of course we didn't throw a touchdown. We threw a touchdown or interception or whatever it was, but we didn't make a lot of mistakes because we weren't throwing the ball.
So, I think you only threw about that many passes against Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it was Arkansas. I think we threw like almost none. Let me pull that up real quick. So we threw 11 passes for 7 receptions. So we threw 7 passes for 72 yards. I mean, Georgia's total yards in that game was 345. Georgia dominated that game. We had 22 first downs. Arkansas had 9. So to say that Georgia has to run the ball, maybe. We don't necessarily have to pass it. I don't think Arkansas necessarily has to pass it to win, but I think if you're going to win this game, you're going to have to be balanced. That's the only way you're going to win.